Asking what was even the point of Biden's meeting with Putin today? Would Ronald Reagan have ever taken a meeting like that with no set goal or clear agenda? I don't think so. Joining us now to weigh in, Steve Forbes, Forbes Media chairman, and most importantly for our purposes today, he was a former chair of the Board for International Broadcasting under President Reagan. Steve Forbes, as always, welcome.
Good to be here.
Do you think Reagan would have taken that meeting? Do you think that Biden was up to speed in that meeting? I'm just not clear. I mean, everything says if they invade Ukraine, we're going to do thus and such. It just doesn't strike me as very definitive, actionable, or tough.
No, what he should have gone in that meeting with was a list of things that we're already doing, such as putting defensive missiles in Poland, which was bad, what Obama took away, stationing NATO troops in more force in the Baltic states, which are also part of NATO, just as a down payment. Also, announcing that we're going to ramp up U.S. energy production. So that spells a doom in the future of Russia, since that's all they're dependent on. And the thing that they don't quite realize is it's not just Ukraine. If they take Ukraine or make a huge seizure of Ukraine, what do you think is going to happen in the Pacific and Taiwan? Asian nations are looking. Can we depend on the United States for security as a counterweight to an aggressive local power? So this has got global implications, not just Europe. And the other thing is, what impressed one about Reagan is he saw things in a broader context. That is a strong economy, fighting inflation, not fueling inflation, liberating entrepreneurs and business to give America strength. And it worked. The Soviet Union realized by the mid-'80s they were hopelessly behind. And that's led to the peaceful collapse of the Soviet Union. So we haven't learned the lessons on a big, strong economy. The other thing is Reagan understood the importance of the battle of ideas. Do we really believe in America anymore? Do we really believe firmly in democracy in a way that Reagan did? So that's why the Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty were so important, was battling the ideas. You hope you don't have to use weapons, but by going the battle of ideas, it's constant every day. That's why he supported those radio stations. He supported efforts to get information inside what they used to call the Soviet bloc. Why? Because the dissidents there needed to know they aren't alone. Keep fighting, because we're going to win. And that's what Reagan understood. So he did it from all angles. And I think this administration is clueless. There's no real strategy. Sitting down and saying, let's have a chat, Putin.
No, I know.
No, you got to put something on the table to get his attention.
I love your idea about prior actions. I suggested earlier in the show he should have backed this amendment on the floor of the Senate, which would have restored the sanctions on Nord Stream 2, all aspects of it, the banking, the financing,
and he had a prime opportunity
because
Germany is changing governments, and there are a lot of people in Germany who are opposed to this Nord Stream pipeline. A lot of people in Europe are opposed to it.
And in the EU. Even the EU is opposed to it.
Absolutely. So he could have done it.
I know. The other point is, I hope Biden and his group understand that they're not talking just to Putin. As you suggested, they're talking to Xi.
Yes.
And they're talking to Xi at a volatile situation because, okay, so we're at a diplomatic boycott of the Chinese Olympics, which may or may not be a big deal thing. I haven't parsed through that yet. But China thinks it is. They're very angry at that. And, of course, they're buzzing flights over Taiwan. And as you were suggesting earlier to me, there's no telling what China might do to other islands in that neighborhood while they're watching us negotiate with Putin in a way if you invade Ukraine. But what about all the other wrongs that Putin has committed, including the Crimea? And they're not a democracy, and they're not our allies.
This is where something like a strong communication strategy would be helpful. How about a real referendum in Crimea? They're not very happy under Russian thumb. And then Donbass in eastern Ukraine, yeah, they have real ancestral ties to Russia, but are they happy with what they see there versus what they see in western Ukraine? So that's where we should hit them, on all sides, instead of hoping, gee, please don't invade because we really might get mad at you and we'll consider some sanctions. You got to, up front, that's why you needed what you might call a down payment in terms of putting NATO forces in and making clear we're going to do a big arms deal with Ukraine, and we're also going to help train them in guerrilla fighting. You know, the Ukrainians are very formidable guerrilla fighters. It took Stalin after the war 4 years to suppress all the guerrilla groups in Ukraine. So we're going to rev that up again. Just let me make Putin clear. There's going to be a price to pay. And why is Putin doing this? Because he knows Western Ukraine, most of Ukraine, wants to ally with the West.
That's the thing. Why doesn't Biden just come out and say, if the people of Ukraine want to enter NATO or the European Union,
Well, you see,
if they vote for that, then that's it, because we believe in democracies and you don't, he's saying to Putin. Why doesn't he just say that? It sounds like he doesn't want to say that.
You see, this is where Reagan would have been so different and clever. You don't have to have Ukraine formally join NATO. You give them the arms as if they were a member of NATO. Ukraine doesn't have to formally enter the European Union. You have more trade with the European Union. So Putin, you could give him face savers. No EU for Ukraine, no NATO for Ukraine. But that's just the front of the building. The substance is they're getting the arms, they're getting the trade deals, and Ukraine's going to ally to the West because that's where they see prosperity and freedom.
In the Reagan years, we did everything we could to thwart the Soviet Union, to thwart pipelines, oil, gas, food, tax, credit, subsidies. And we turned all those things off to hurt them.
One of the things Reagan did by killing inflation was the benefits the Soviets got from artificially high dollar oil prices because of the weak dollar. That got shut off. The bank lending got shut off. Russia had no more piggy bank to go to, and they had to face their own economy, which was a shambles, and the rest is history.
So, Putin lost one today, and you won one, and I won one. Omarova's nomination to be banking queen from Moscow State University on a Lenin scholarship. It wasn't a Putin scholarship. Apparently that nomination has been withdrawn.
That's a good thing. But you know what these people are doing? And you've pointed this out, too. They're appointing people like her to all these positions.
Crazy.
They just hope a couple of them stick in key areas of the FCC, FTC, SEC.
Cordry,
Federal Reserve. So they're throwing them all out there.
Warren.
See what sticks to the wall. So she's one, but the Republicans have to have the backbone, oppose every single one of these hardcore socialists.
Well, Moscow State lost one today. It's a small victory for us, but we worked very hard on it.
Congratulations.
You too.
Exposing what was being done there.
Terrific stuff. And I think you're absolutely right. The linkage and the entanglements around the world, I think it still baffles the Bidens. And that's why they shouldn't be going off having all these big shot meetings. Let the assistant secretaries work on that until they figure out an agenda.
And sit down, do the hard work, a real strategy for this new world. So the world knows this is where we're going. You can help us achieve that goal.
All right, Steve Forbes, the best
Thank
of the
you.
best.